Good morning. Welcome to all of those who are attending to this seminar. It's called Meat Days for the virtual Meat Days in 2021. In this opportunity, our seminar, The Sustainable Meat World for the World. We hope that these issues today, that we will have today, and also Tuesday the 13th, will be for your complete agreement, and that the issues will be satisfying for you, and that we'll get enough information and experience to enrich our national livestock. Without so much to say, we're going to leave you with the president of the Meat Corporation, Sergio, who is going to talk about the perspectives and the challenges for the sustainable development of this Chilean meat production chain by 2022. Thank you so much. Dear attendants and friends of Meat Days, welcoming to this version online that we have prepared for you. We're very sorry that I'm honored for your president as the president of the Meat Corporation. I think that this instance of this, that we want to make this a very prosperous meat country and a sustainable one for all of us. We have worked for 2 days about this current situation that we have today and the option of incentivizing this urban development to have a Chilean meat production chain, which is sustainable. All of the presentations and also Tuesday will have to do with the sustainable from different angles and will be available on the platform throughout all of these FISUR affair. It seems like that the livestock is the opposite of sustainable. The society are always facing challenge, and there's always tendencies to try to find someone who is responsible. And we think this has to do with the difficulty of the humans to be able to insert us in an ecosystem, which is multifactorial. I'm going to show some slides to be able to give you the idea. Here we are. Here we have 2 different emblematic cases. The small eggs and the eggs around the world, they were always very demonized as feed. And today it has been proven that they give a lot of contribution to the health of the human. If we look at the causes in general, it has to do with the bad information. Why? Because we have a very biased opinion of the system. We only see one part. Its focus on the research can allow us to discover what are the problems, or what are the gaps, or what are the needs that we need to improve. But the problem is that the information is incomplete. And the problem comes when someone diffuses this as if it was an absolute truth. They only show one part, and then we have these tendencies going here and there, and then very bad informed. The consumer doesn't have to know that there are some chapters that are missing in this story, or they're just giving them a half truth. And they have this information and they have it as a tendency. The butter and the eggs, we're lucky. There were new research to validating, and now the public has a lot more tools to be able to understand that. As you can see, the diffusion is very important. There needs a broad vision and a lot of diffusion. Today, the livestock has been able to see the health of this animal and in the environment. This is a very old picture, and this shows the small size of the steamboats that brought the immigrant families from 1800s to 1900s. And during these years, they were under the idea of sustainability and animal welfare. And they would travel in these very small passenger ships with many animals inside. The beef cattle were very well welcomed. It showed the survival of the family, gave meat and gave milk, and they were quickly being breeded. The know-how were knocked out by the people here, the natural people here in Chile, the indigenous people here in Chile. Under this sense, we had an emotional link with the animals. And even today, that still remains. There are 2 different concepts that are confusing. One is sustainability or sustainability. Today, if we look at, we only talked about the profits, at long time with the production without having to have the balance with the ecosystem so that the ecosystems will remain in time. However, today there are many different examples that we can see, and that the examples have a tendency of diffusing. Here you see there is an error that people think that it's only one of the tables, which is the profit, the environment, and the social is only another part. The sustainability means 4 pillars when we talk about profit, productivity, environment, and social development. Without one of this, then the sustainability will not work. To close the gaps, another easy way is easy to close this gap, but we cannot just be in love with one of them. Because if we only center on the economic part or in the sustainability of the animal, so what we see today and why we do not polarize so much a strict work. We have to be very careful. You have to keep your eyes open. It's very difficult to see the whole image when we're only focused on one. Everything has to work perfectly in harmony. The livestock production, these are windows that we need to react quickly to. We believe, why should we do this seminar? Because we think the pandemic has not been able to diffuse this. As the president mentioned, we have not been able to socialize either, but it has been a time where our work lines have matured. Our line of work has matured. For those of us who don't know us, and for those who know us even less, those who don't know our organization, the Meat Corporation is a GNO, private, made of 23 partners where the production, the trading, the industry, and the academy are all linked together to be able to work for the well-being of everyone and everything. This is an instance where the gaps are looked at, the instances are looked at, and it's a great system and it's given great fruit. It's given great future. When we look at all of this, however long as the production cycle, the goals need to be short and quantifiable to be able to visualize the root of the problem and to increase our partners in the applied research and also at the work tables, which are public and private. Some of the examples that we have. We look at it as an impulse approach. Chile has always been constant with us. We want to thank them so much for us as we are doing the work, but we also see that we have a regulation of support. In 2016, the fall, Andrew McCollum, who came from Australia, which is Meat and Livestock Australia, allowed us to find a practical solution to see the anabolic uses of implementing the regulations of SAG, the amount of farms that they were using the air energy, the wind energy, the aeolic energy, to be able to come to the different markets around the world. We have developed a very strong work in the last years to be able to modify the systems of typification, putting us before and preparing us to be able to go out to the countries of the Southern Cone, which are free from the foot and mouth disease. We have done this now for the last 5 years to be able to modify the regulations for the meat. The president of SAC will also show the regularization that we have now. When we talk about this, we're talking about the sectors with our partners and with the companies of the United Kingdom. We were able to amplify the solution to this. Why today are we going to dedicate to the males? Because we can have a productive and a high impact, which is very, very determining, especially for the family farms. The dairy product is growing more and more every day. There were some experts from Holland which showing a very similar aspect, not only in Ireland, but also here in Chile, when we talk about the dairy calves have grown 50%, and this tendency will continue to grow. So that is why today we want to show that Chile, and in our field of work, can present proudly the research that we have applied to the dairy calves, and now the specialization of the genetics, where we have given in a few more minutes of ABS, who will give us a presentation about this. However, if you remember the years that I showed you before, if we don't have a sufficient to have a profit, then this is the big challenge. Today, we will get to know two alternatives from Los Lagos to be able to show the possibility of a window for the small livestock farms to be able to have a productive model in business for the private companies as one of our partners. In this sense, we want to thank the regional governments from the Los Rios and Los Lagos government who has worked with us, and also the advisors from the regional area governments to be able to have a constant support of the research and to be able to encourage this line of work. We think that our kind of work is to follow hand in hand with the dairy area. And so this is why we want to thank the participation of the dairy consortium who's going to be with us today. Today, we are together, the meat and the dairy. They should always be there. And this is what we firmly believe is that the livestock, the dairy, and the meat have a lot in common, and the research and also in the environment. In 20, we did a work to get with the APEC, and we found with the great surprise that the delegates of the economy were very impressed with our fields, and also the people from the FAO, and the presence of the wild life that is present in our farms. And we think that this is a very important factor when we talk about the environmental point of view. The formal says that the area by the forests of 23.13 of the territorial land was 17.6 million hectares. With these native forests, we have 14 or 15 million hectares, which shows 18% of the forest resources that we have. That means that in the Chilean regions, we are tightly linked to a great national park. 85% of Chile is rural. So our livestock can have pastures that are surrounded by the native forests, the glaciers, and the rivers that are coming from the Los Andes region, mountains. So it's not strange to us that we have a neutral carbon country and it has a positive carbon effect. Currently, we are trying to accelerate the applied research to establish the best positive for the pastures to be able to reduce the affection of the carbon. On Tuesday, 13th, the Livestock Research INEA will give more background regarding this, and they're going to honor us with the subjects about the same thing. If you can see, the green bars represent the capturing of gases, something that is positive. Why? It's because the forests, undoubtedly, in all of the farms, we have forests, and they have not measured the in the pastures. We are working now with this, with INEA and this region. They are positive. Everything you see with the green bars are from the livestock contribution, cattle contribution. Obviously, we still have a long way to go. We need to have a higher contribution to our regulations. 83% of our territory is rural. 76% of the breeding are in the hands of the family farmers. So therefore, the social role and the economy role is very important to make the better welfare for all of the families. Green countries as a strong link with the livestock. Ireland is implementing a program as for the 500,000 euros in models to be able to invest in the cattle raising, just as we have done. It's something very stable. It's a key industry for the development of our country. Look what happened in our pandemic. We began to see some reports about the resilience of our area. The farming does not stop. The livestock does not stop, and this allows us to have less containers due to our rural areas. The prices have been positive for this area. Ever since the export, the prices have gone up 100% per kilo. What we're seeing is that all this export has a positive effect on all of our cattle population. This has had a positive effect and not just the person who is exporting. How do we project 2021 and 2022? We have some conditions to grow, just as long as the conditions of the country do not make a distortion of all this. We can have a new opportunity for exporting. We are very observing of the changes that is happening in Brazil because of the foot and mouth disease. We were commenting before, the foot and mouth disease just got being declared as one of the parts in Brazil without using a vaccination. So therefore, the SAC is going to make a presentation regarding this. Tell us a little bit about the changes of the regulation of this. We have Ricardo Quesa from Argentina, who is also going to, on Tuesday the 13th, to tell us about the situation in his country and how they are facing this and how they're going to produce in the time of diversity. Also, we need to realize that the better conditions of sustainability, we have better conditions of sustainability than what we really believe. You, Corelli, the delegate from the Latin America FAO here in Chile. We need to take this message in a very clear way and very transparent. So therefore, our organization has developed the meat days, the days of meat in Spanish, because not only to have the opportunity to be able to continue with the necessary alliances to be able to develop the process that we are doing here in Chile. This year, we divided the seminar in 3 blocks: productivity, sustainability for today, and sustainability in our surrounding with the environment, and the concerning for Tuesday in the morning, and sustainability in the afternoon. The Meat Corporation, we want to thank all of our partners, our special guests, to the partners who are our strongest strength. We also want to thank the authorities, Pro-Chile, the foreign guests who are with us today, and also the Milk Consortium. Thank you so much, and welcome to this afternoon that we did with a lot of love and care for you. Thank you so much, President. We hope that this introductory presentation will help you realize the issues that we are going to talk about throughout this day. And you are cordially invited to have the to see the second presentation that will start in another 3 minutes. Thank you so much.